Well, I'm Jeffrey Jacoby, and I have a story for all ages. So if anybody'd like to come up and hear a story, now is the time to come and join me. You always know if I show up with a basket, I've got a story to tell. What is it about baskets and storytellers? We always have a basket. So many stories include a basket. Hey guys, how's it going? All right, good to see you guys this morning. Well, today's story is about an apple farmer. And he had this huge apple farm, and every morning... Hello? Oh, that's better, yes. Every morning he would say to his dog, all right, let's go out into the apple orchard and see if there's any apples that are ripe for us to pick. So he'd get his basket and go out into the orchard, and he gets to this first tree, and he says, oh, wow, look, there's ripe red apples in this tree. Let's get them. So he climbs up and picks all these apples, and then, right as he's finishing up with the apple basket, from out of the bushes right nearby, this little man pops out, and he says, and he goes, oh my great Granny Smith, who are you? And the little man says, I am Take, and if you listen to me, your life will be great. And the farmer thinks about it for a second. He says, well, my life's actually already pretty great. And Take says, well, it'll be much greater. So he says, well, okay, I'll let you make my choices for me today. And he puts Take on his shoulder, and he goes about his day. He goes off down the road, and next door to him, there lived...
Some hopping down the road music.
So, yeah, here we go. And then he got to his neighbor's house, and she was a pumpkin farmer. And he said, good morning, pumpkin farmer. And she was like, yes, good morning, apple guy. And she said, would you like some of my pumpkins? And Take suddenly got right in the farmer's ear and says, take them all. Take all those pumpkins. Take every pumpkin she has. And he cackled evilly, and the farmer said, okay. He dumped all of his apples out, took all these pumpkins, and it was a huge stack of pumpkins. It was really heavy, and he left. Yes, his name is Take. Oh, dropped my basket. And he said, what now? And he says, okay, you got to take something else. Take a hike. Take a hike with all these pumpkins? Oh, okay. So he goes off on this long hike with all these pumpkins, and he's getting really tired. And when he gets home finally, he thinks, oh, the farmer said, I should make soup with these pumpkins. So he peels the pumpkins, chops the pumpkins, makes them into soup. Then he realizes, oh, I don't have a blender or a food processor, so the soup was really stringy and gross, and he didn't like it, and he gave some to his dog. His dog hated it, so he's like, gallons of soup he's not going to eat. He goes, why did I listen to Take all day long? So he goes to bed and tells Take to go to bed too. Go to bed, Take. I've had enough of you for the day. And so next morning he wakes up, and he sees Take sleeping, and he gets really mad, and he's like, Take, you're out of here. I'm not going to listen to you anymore. Get out of here. Sends him away. So he goes back out in the orchard, says to his dog, let's see if there's any apples. So they go out, and he finds more apples, starts picking them, and then from out of the top of the tree, what do you know? A different little guy comes out. And he says, who are you? And the little man says, I am, anybody got a guess? Give, exactly, yes. I'm Give, and if you listen to me, your life will be sweet. And the farmer thinks about it and says, well, gosh, my life's already pretty sweet. And Give says, it'll be a lot sweeter. So he says, okay, I'll let you make my choices for me today. He puts him on his other shoulder and goes off for his day, down the street in the other direction today. And that way, there's a pig farmer. He sees the pig farmer, and the pig farmer says, wow, those apples sure do look great that you have got in your basket. My pigs would love those.
Give them.
That's what Give says. Give him all those apples. So he says, okay. He dumps all of them out, and he has nothing. And he says, what else should I do? And Give says, give him other stuff too. Give him. Give him advice. Give him all the advice. Give him everything in your head.
Give him your hair.
I already did that. So he gives him all this advice. He's talking to him about trees, apples, apple seeds, apple farming. And then he looks around, and the pig farmer's disappeared. He walked away. He got bored. He was like, I got no apples. I'm all out of advice. And he walks home with nothing. So he's mad again. He goes to bed hungry, and he's like, I did it again. I let somebody else make all my choices for me. Well, tomorrow was going to be different. I'm going to make my own choices. So next morning he gets up, sends Give away, and goes out to the orchard, and he finds one more tree that has apples on it. And they go over there, they pick all those apples, and he's just gotten finished with getting this nice batch of apples, last batch of apples. And then he hears this funny noise from behind the shrubs. And nearby, and it's like this big tussle going on. And he looks back there, and there's give and take, and they're fighting like cats and dogs. Give is better, take is better, give is better, take is better. And seeing them doing all that and getting onto that gives the farmer an idea. He thinks, I think I'm going to teach them a lesson and let them see what happens when I make my own choices for the day. So he grabs both give and take, and they didn't even know what was happening. They were so into their fighting. He took them and he put them in his basket around top of the apples and went off. And then today he went to the miller's house. And when he got to the miller's house, that's when Give and Take realized, we need to tell him what to do. So immediately they start telling him, give him stuff, take stuff, give, take. And farmer thinks, I'm going to ignore them. They'll see what will happen. So he says to the miller, Mr. Miller.
Take nidus. Take give nidus. Anyway, it's in your...
So he says, Mr. Miller, if I give you some of my apples, can I take some of your flour? And the miller says, that's a great idea, sure. So they make this exchange. And he goes home. Give and Take are speechless. They don't know what's going on. They think, why has the apple farmer stopped listening to us? We don't know, how is he making all these decisions on his own? And what's going to happen? And the apple farmer keeps ignoring him and just goes home with these apples and the flour he got from the miller. And he starts putting it together. He starts making stuff with the flour and making stuff with the apples. And he gets this idea, and he puts it all together. And then he puts it in the oven. And they start smelling this really good smell from the oven. And does anybody have a guess about what he made in the oven? Oh my gosh, you got it. Yes, first try. Yes, it was the very first apple pie. And none of them had ever seen this before. Give and Take were like amazed by this smell. And the farmer's thinking, this is going well. He takes the pie out and slices 4 slices, one for himself, one for his dog, one for Give and Take. And they're all silently eating. Give and Take are just blown away by what happened in this pie and how delicious it is. And after they get done eating their pie, Give and Take look at each other and they say at the very same time, Give and Take is a two-way street. Some of each makes a pie that's delicious and sweet. There was two more lines. Letting someone else choose for you isn't very nice. We'll go back and live in the orchard now, or maybe after just one more slice.
Oh, that was good. Yay.
All right, that's our story.